and welcome to the Adult Chair on rashpixel.fm. I'm Pete Wright, and we're talking about my inner child today with Michelle Chalfant.
And mine. Our two inner children together.
This is actually, it's going to be an inner child podcast. We're not even here. It's just our inner children. It's a play date. That's what it is.
It is. It's a little play date.
It's a little play date. Before we dig into the meat of this conversation, make sure to head over to theadultchair.com to learn more about this very show. Subscribe for free by signing up to the mailing list. You can also sign up to download Michelle's ebook, The Adult Chair. If you want to learn a little bit more about the language that we use on this show, this is a fantastic primer. You can do so right on the website. Download it for free, and you'll have it there. It won't take you very long to read, and then you'll be caught up. It's like Cliff's Notes for this podcast.
It's true.
There you go.
And it's a short book to read, too.
Yeah, it's a quick read and incredibly helpful. So definitely do that. You can join the conversation on Facebook or Twitter. And on Facebook, join that private group. It's fantastic. Private Facebook group, The Adult Chair. You can find the link right on the website to request access, and we'll let you in. And it is a great place where people are sharing wonderful vulnerability and helping one another through the language of the adult chair. It's fantastic. So thank you for everybody who is finding some sort of peace and solace over in the adult chair group. We love you over there. So that's it. That's what we've got for old news. And now let's talk about the inner child. Now this is, we've talked about the inner child kind of roundabout, but you've been getting some questions that inspire you to come back to this topic and talk a little bit more about what it means to work with your inner child. Yes?
Yes, for sure. And I just want to say off the bat, we have a meditation. What is it called, Pete? I don't remember. Finding the inner child or locating?
Well, now you're going to have to let me find it. I'll let you know. You keep talking, I'll find it.
So if when doing this work, if you really cannot see your inner child, do this meditation that I've created to help access your own inner child. It's on the website. It's on the YouTube channel.
It's called Accessing the Inner Child. It is meditation number 5, and it's on the meditations page at michellechalfant.com/meditations, and it is also on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Michelle Chalfant.
Thank you. So what's happening is I'm having a lot of clients come in and they're saying, I still am stuck. I don't know what to do with this feeling. So remember, our feelings are coming from the inner child part of us. That inner child part of us has true feelings and true needs. One way to access our feelings and our emotions is to, first of all, let me just say, the first step is to pause, stop doing what you're doing, and drop inside the body. This is about being mindful of what am I feeling? And let me just say this. This concept of feeling our emotions is so new to us as humans that oftentimes we may not feel the emotion, but we can notice that there's a sensation or a physical feeling in my body. And I'm going to say, look chin down. It's in the core of our being. So if something happens and you feel triggered, stop what you're doing and notice, how do you physically feel? Some people say, well, my head hurts. No. That's resistance oftentimes. I'm not saying you won't have a headache, but travel down below the chin, what I call chin down, and notice, what am I feeling? Oh, wow, look, I have a knot in my stomach. I have a lump in my throat. My chest feels like it's caving in. I'm noticing it's hard to breathe. Just do a check of the body. So that's for starters. Another thing that we can do is to connect into this inner child part and ask him or her what's happening with that emotion. So how we do that, again, allow ourselves to just be present for a moment, and then imagine the physical part of you that's having the I call it like an energy sensation. So again, it might be a knot in the stomach or, lump in the throat, and just get kind of curious about it. And then what I say to do, I use the term pop out, and I'm realizing some people don't know what that means. So I'm going to explain it. Instead of popping, I just pop out my child at that point, but I can do this obviously fast because I've done it for years. But so what that means is go ahead and just imagine from 0 to 6 or 0 to 7, the part of you that might be having that might be giving you that sensation. So it's not even knowing what the emotion is. It's some part of me is giving me that sensation, and it's your inner child. So visualize or imagine that little girl or that little boy that's you standing in front of you or sitting next to you or sitting, across from you on a chair or something. So you're going to close your eyes and you just imagine that part of you. That's what I mean by popping him or her out. And then you're going to get really curious. Now, remember, when we do this work with our inner child, this part does not have a clue who you are. It's If I'm the healthy adult Michelle, the 49-year-old Michelle, this little part of me now is sitting across from me and it's going, who are you? Unless, of course, you've been doing work with him or her. But if this is your first time, they don't know you all that well. So it's almost like you're a step parent that's being introduced to this kid for the first time. And they're going, where'd you come from? Like, who's running the show now? So the first thing that we'll say is hello. So if my little inner child, my little Michelle, who's usually 5 when I see her, sometimes she's younger, I'll just say hello right away. I'll just say, oh, hello. I'm the adult version of you, and I'm here to take care of you. And I just wanted to get to know you. I just want to say hello. And sometimes they'll look, sometimes the little child will turn away, sometimes they will be across the room, cuddle. Sometimes mine even is in like a little ball, like she doesn't want anybody to look at her. She's really mad about something or ashamed. And as the adult that's working with this part of us, we're really patient. I don't say, get up and sit over here next to me. No, I'm really patient. And again, I'm curious. From our adult, we are present. We're curious. I'm patient in my adult chair. So I'm sitting and I'm waiting. Yes.
I've got a couple of questions. For people who are following on and have never popped out their inner child. Mm-hmm. Number one, when you and I first started talking about this inner child process, I happened to, and just out of coincidence, be doing a bit of technical support for my dad on his computer from across the country, and we were screen sharing. And I noticed in his contact list for me, the picture he had was a picture of me when I was 6 years old.
Aww.
And yes, that's the appropriate response because I was adorable. I'm not kidding. I had a little cowboy hat on, and I used to ride competitively Western show when I was a kid, and so I was on my horse, and I had my cowboy hat. I was adorable. Yeah, that's right. We could take a moment. Anyway, what I found really interesting about that was once I saw that, I realized who I was talking to. When I'm feeling compromised and I need to stop and do a visualization process like this, looking at a picture of me helped me get in better touch with my inner child. Is that something that you've ever recommended before? Or did I just stumble on that and it works for me and I'm the only one?
Absolutely. Yeah. Having a picture of yourself as a child, if you're doing this work, is very, very, very helpful connecting with that part of you.
Excellent.
And yeah, whether, again, pick an age, 0 to 6.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right. Okay.
Put it on your nightstand, put it on your mirror in your bathroom so you can start walking by every day and just saying hello to that little part of you. Yes,
yeah, right. It institutes that sort of practice. The second thing, when you're in the actual moment of, sitting down and kind of working with yourself, right, connecting with your inner child, are you say, I'm going to say to my inner child that blah blah blah, and you're talking to them. Are you actually talking out loud? Are you taking turns, like speaking out loud in the voice of your inner child and yourself? Or are you doing this in your head? Like for people who are kind of uncomfortable doing this for the first time, does it help to vocalize?
People that think that they cannot do this, in my experience, they can, and they are just listening to whatever voice comes back at them. It sounds like we have multiple personalities, I know, but really, when I'm doing this work, I'm waiting for my little child to answer back. And by the way, and so I'm not answering out loud. You can ask the question out loud or in your head, it doesn't matter. I oftentimes will do the work with my eyes closed, but if I'm driving to work, I like to check in with my little girl then. So I'll imagine her sitting next to me in the passenger seat, and I'll just check in and say, I just want to say hello and that I love you and that I'm here and I'm so glad you're here with me. And sometimes that's all I'm saying. And I'll ask her if she'd like to hold my hand or sit on my lap while I drive to work. And I get both sometimes, but I'm allowing her to answer. And I promise people are stunned in my office when they all come in and they'll say, well, I know that my inner child, I talked to her this morning and the other day, and she's just mad. She's really, really mad. And I'll say, really, How do you know? Well, I talked to her and I told her, I know that you're mad. And I said, oh, so you didn't ask her. And it sounds crazy, but this part of you really will respond. It really, she or he really, really will. So again, I asked the question, hi, little Michelle, how are you today? What's going on? I'm here. I'm your adult. I'm here. I'm with you. I'm so sorry I haven't been here all this time, but I'm here now. I look forward to getting to know you. These are all the kinds of things I may say if it's my very first time. And then in the beginning, I remember my inner child would come back with like, where have you been? I don't know you. And you left me and it was so hard and nobody was here to protect me and all that.
Yeah.
And sometimes she's yelling or she's not happy. And I
imagine that's super shocking, right? If you aren't in a regular practice to hear it really, this part of yourself responding so hard.
Exactly. And it honestly, I hear like something come back and I'll be like, what? Well, okay, well, you're right. And I'm so sorry. This little child of ours is always right, by the way. She's always right, or he's always right with whatever they say. We don't correct. I've had people say, I've done groups and I'm like, okay, what does your inner child say? Well, my inner child just said this and I told her to stop saying that. That's not right. And I'm like, no. I'm going to straighten her out. No, we are here to validate. We want to grow up that little part of us. We want to help her, not grow her up, but we want to help her heal. So we are reparenting this part of our lives by being the parent that we never had, but always wanted and deserved. And that's who the adult is as she communicates with this little inner child part. So it corrects a lot of the childhood misbeliefs. It works fabulous with, again, adults that are codependent, adult children of alcohol. You name it. We all have inner child issues, everybody on the planet. So some have more and some have less, but working with this part of us is so powerful. So getting back to my story though, about how people come in and they'll report in and say, oh yeah, I know my inner child, she's really mad today, blah, blah, blah. Really? And I'll say, okay, so can you imagine her standing in front of you? Yep, she's right there. Okay. And I'll have them slow down. Remember, when we're talking really fast, we're in the adolescent chair. That's the faster moving energy. It's the energy of the ego. So I'll have them slow down, take a few deep breaths, get present. And I'll say, okay, now look at her or him. Now ask them, don't answer for them. Ask them how they feel. And I'm not kidding you. Every time I do this, the person comes back crying, like, oh my God, I had no idea. They don't feel mad. They feel unlovable. They don't feel mad. They feel like they don't matter. They don't feel mad. They feel shame. It's like, and whoever's in front of me, my client will say, I had no idea. I'm like, I know. This is true inner child work. And so whatever the child gives back to us and says back, again, our job is to be present with it and validate that. And this works, by the way, with our real children, not just our inner children, but our kids. And again, we did that podcast with, what was it, a week ago on the teenagers and connecting with teens? Yeah, it's like we want to be seen and heard, whether it's the imagination inner child or, a real kid. We want to be seen and heard and validated for who we are. So we're doing that we did not get as children. We're doing it now. So our job is to sit and listen and say, I'm so sorry. You're right. I understand that you feel so much shame. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I get it. I feel that too. And the little girl or little boy might be crying. And that's when I'll say, at the end of when I feel like they're done sharing, I'll say, is there anything else that you're feeling that you'd like to share? Because I'm here with you right now. And I want to hear from you. And sometimes the little girl or little boy will say no, or yes, I'm there. There's one more thing. But if they say, no, I'm done. That's when I say, okay, so then what do you need? Because I'm here with you. What do you need? What do you need from me? Yeah. And a typical kid, think about a 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 years old kid that would say, what would their needs be? I had one lady that we did this work in a group. It was so funny. I said, so ask your inner child, what does she need now? And the lady said, she's telling me she wants me to go quit my job. and I said, no, that's the adolescent. Get into the child again. So if you hear like a directive like that, it's like, no. Or she told me to go punch him in the face because he was being so mean to her. No, that's not you're not
connecting with your inner child.
No,
that's the wrong
but the inner
voice.
child will say things like, I just want you to sit with me, or I just want you to tell me that I'm lovable, or that you love me, or so many people are shocked in my office. They'll say, well, she just wants a hug. And then they'll look at me like with this puzzled look on their face, like, I can't believe she just said that. And oh my God, this is crazy. So many clients say, not everybody, so many clients will say to me, but I'm not like a hugger, but she wants a hug. Isn't that weird? I'm like, yeah. I mean, no, it's not weird because it's your inner child. And perhaps she was a hugger, but someone gave her a bad experience. And then you turn that off inside of you. So I'll say, would you like a hug? Because I enroll oftentimes as the adult in my office. I'll say, here, would you like a hug? I'm happy to give you a hug. And then we'll give a little hug. And so many clients are like, I'm puzzled. I'm not a hugger, but she wanted a hug. I'm like, yeah. So don't expect to know what's going to come from that inner child. Be really open. And this is a really important point too. I realized that sometimes the response that we're waiting for is coming from the baby. So again, inner child is 0 to about 6. So when you ask the question and you might see a baby, but they're not giving you an answer, it's because it's pre-verbal. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So what do you do when your inner child can't talk back to you?
I just sit with that baby and just tell the baby, like if it's my baby, that this has actually happened to me. And I'm like, why can't I get an answer on this? She's not answering me. And I go a little deeper and I'm like, who is that? And I'm like, oh my God, it's the baby. So sometimes I'll say, would you be able to let the older part of you give some words so I can understand what to do? Or I'll just say it like, I'll say, show me. Can you give me a picture in your mind of what you'd like me to do? And I'll get, boom, this picture in my mind. Yeah. So like it might be that I'm really hugging or swaddling the baby and hugging the baby. But I ask for the older part. I'll ask for, again, a picture. Or I ask that part to just mature a little bit so they can give me words. So you can't get this wrong. Like play with it. It's just playing with, it's using the mind, using the imagination. But Pete, this works. This work has changed me profoundly, and I've seen it work with so many clients over the years. It really, really is powerful work because it's reparenting us as kids.
Yeah, right.
It's healing a lot of those old childhood wounds. So again,
well, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I hope, I mean, this is in terms of like giving people an anchor, like something to start with. I think this is a really important conversation, even though we've talked about, popping out your inner child, connecting with your inner child in the past. This is it. This is where you start to really, build that relationship.
Right. I mean, but this is the framework for truly bonding with that child. Like this is what we do. I don't do anything differently than what I just explained. So on the way to work, I'll just say, hi, I just want to check in. I'm here. And I typically, again, will see this 5-year-old little version of myself. Sometimes she's younger, but typically it's the 5-year-old. Or when I'm going to bed, I'll just say, I just want to say goodnight. I don't do it every day, but I do it often. And that's it. I mean, and if there's more to say, like if I'm really stuck in an emotion, if I'm really having, something that I'm struggling with and I can't get through it and I'm ruminating thoughts about it. Ruminating thoughts, you can break those by dropping into the feeling. There's a feeling underneath these thoughts. So that's when I go back into connecting with my inner child and I sit and I'll ask her again, something's happening, what's happening physically? And then I go into the emotion and then, and I have her tell me again, all we have to do is validate, be with her in that emotion. We validate. And then at the end you say, and then what do you need? I'm here for you. And this is what we do with real humans. This is what I do with my sister, my mom, my friends. Don't fix people. We can't fix other people. We can't. We think we can. We cannot. So whether, again, it's the imagined child or it's a friend or a family member, be with that person in their pain. So many of us talk each other out of their pain. So if someone comes in and says, or a friend of ours comes and says, I'm depressed or I feel really bad, typically the response is something like, well, why do you feel bad? I mean, come on, your life is so good. And that doesn't help. It never helps. It's like, let that person be in their pain and join them in that space of their pain. They will climb out and you climb out after. That's the most healing thing we can do for anybody because we get out of our pain when we are ready, period. No one can talk us out of pain and certainly say, why are you so upset? Your life's so great. No, when I'm in a bad place, that's like the last thing that I want to hear. That's the last
I
thing.
hate that so much.
You know?
I hate it when I'm in a good place. Like, it doesn't matter. That's a terrible thing to say.
I remember, like, when all my, you know how I am with my family being so far away, and my family's far away. And I remember calling on some major holiday. I think it was Thanksgiving. And I called, you know, and of course they're all together, like 30 of them are together. Hey, and I'm on speakerphone. Oh, you know, we miss you. Wish you were here. Of course, I hang up the phone. I'm like so depressed. And I called my cousin the next day and I go, that was really hard. I said, I hate being so far away when you guys have a major holiday and I'm not with you. I said, it just sucks. And she said to me, you want to know something? She said, it does suck. I said, it felt so good because I'll call my mom or my mom will call and be like, I just miss you guys. She's like, oh, you'll be home soon or we'll see you in a month. Like that does not help me.
Yeah.
Like,
all of those are fixes. That's a salve. It means nothing.
And fix it. When we try to fix people, it sends the message that we're broken. So it's like, stop trying to fix everybody. Just let them be in their pain. We all climb out when it's time. And we climb out faster when we're seen and heard. So validate. So
beautiful.
Anyway,
Beautiful.
That's that. Bond with your inner child. There you go.
There you go. Let's do it. Everybody, pop them out. Bond with them. You're on. Let's hear those stories in the private Facebook group. How's your inner child? Is he as cute as mine with a little cowboy hat? That's what we should do. Post a picture of your inner child. I'm going to post my cowboy hat picture.
Yes.
He's adorable. All right. Thank you, Michelle. As always, illuminating, illustrative, wonderful conversation. And thank you, everybody, for downloading, listening to this show. And don't forget, again, if you like this inner child stuff, you'll really like iTunes 5-star kind words comments, because those really help other people who are working on their inner child to discover us and discover the adult chair model and see how well it works for them. So thanks for supporting us and supporting those to come after you. We sure appreciate it. On behalf of Michelle Chalfant, I'm Pete Wright. We'll catch you next week right here in the adult chair.